It's raining, bud. It's raining. Come on. Had a sump saver show up yesterday. That old gal doesn't get used a whole lot anymore. It's just the Kubota mate came to the farm. But that's actually one of my first farm purchases, is that 873. 72 horsepower skid steer. Thought it was pretty good for its time until you get into that Kubota. But anyways, that's ranting on that. But today's rain project is actually to work on this excavator right here. A couple years ago, 3, 4, I don't know how many years ago, I was doing a little tiling project actually down over the hill here. Found a stump, pulled the excavator, it slid in the hole, and it kind of ended up basically on its side. And I actually broke this track. Well, not actually that track, that's the new track right there. It was like one of these old tracks right here. And we ended up, or Dad ended up ordering 2 new tracks because it was kind of hard to find those. So he found 2 tracks, ordered 2 of them, but decided not to put the other one on until this one wore itself out. Well, when we were replacing the hydrant at my house, I was backing off the trailer, it chucked a lug deal or something like that. So this track is now broke as well. So today's little rain day project is to work on this track. And then also I'm gonna run across the road here and walk through with you guys, actually first GSI sponsored video for you guys on why we chose the site location that we did to do our grain bin setup. That's a little bit of a plan today. Let's get to work. Let's see if we can 360 this thing without breaking something. In the bean bin, and then it's a hydraulically driven like paddles. Yeah. And so if you get a block sump, it hook your tractor up. You don't have to go poking.
Okay. So the pull grain out, is that what it is?
Like a clump comes there.
Yeah.
And then like it's a bean clump or whatever.
Oh, so you have it in the bin already?
Yeah, you already have it in the bin, just right above the sump, and then
you and it busted up.
Yeah,
and it goes. Is it like this?
No. Like this.
Okay.
Rototiller, not helicopter.
Okay. Where's one of them short little chains at, you know? I feel like I've got a prize or something.
until it breaks again. A cool deal, that thing's operational. It's got some projects it needs to do this summer. Just one of the projects it needs to do is actually work on the grain bins, which is what we're gonna go chat about now. A few videos ago, we actually came out here and pinned what is going to be built as a wet bin this year. And I told you guys that I'm partnering with GSI to bring you guys a series of videos of things that I actually wanted to learn or have learned over the 2 years that I've been planning with my father, how our grain facility is going to be set up. And we have looked at a lot of things, and we about pulled the trigger on some stuff 2 years ago. Then more questions and everything came up. I looked on YouTube to see if there's anything kind of like the videos that I want to do for you guys to kind of guide people and answer some questions, or maybe make them ask the questions about the things that they might need when it comes to actually building a grain handling facility. And so in today's video, we are actually going to talk about picking your site, where you should pick your site at to actually build the grain facility that's going to work for you in the future. This actually I found on GSI's website, which was actually part of it. Before I even talked to GSI, I actually looked at this article, and it's got 8 checklists, I believe what it is. We'll go through those really quickly with you guys and talk about why we chose this location. So number 1 on their list is the proximity to the highway. And to answer that one, I'd say we're pretty close to the highway right here. So that one really checked off the list. This is highway S70 right here. And so it's a county highway basically that runs around Lake Rathbun. This we can head north, and that takes us to Cargill, which is a big buyer, or we can head south to Lucerne, which is a big buyer. So right here, we are right on the highway. The good thing about that is that this road is cleared off in the winter. If we want to haul easily, you can get in and out. That's what you need to be able to do. Proximity to the highway, this one gets a big green check mark. Number 2 on the checklist is natural gas. That unfortunately won't happen here. It's really not around here at all. So we're gonna have to be on LP for us, but that's not a huge deal breaker. Now granted, it'd be really nice to be on natural gas. That way you don't have to have propane tanks around taking up the space. And then actually having to get it delivered to you. Now, would we have considered some other sites if that was possible? Yes, but there's no natural gas around here, so it's propane for us. And luckily we do have some really good propane companies that will keep us in the propane, and maybe in the future we can buy, I think they call it like a bullet, which will hold a whole semi-load of propane. That's something that we might be able to do. Shouldn't be a big roadblock for us, knock on wood. Number 3 on the checklist, and we got to run back out here to the highway so you can show you this, is actually 3-phase power. That's something that I'm still learning, and I'm in the process of getting done. We're going to be bringing in 3-phase power. We don't have 3-phase power right here. We got 2 services here already that's not maxed out. We believe that electrical system's saying, but single phase is not as efficient as 3-phase, but 3-phase is actually really expensive to bring in. That's something I'm going to be doing. Luckily, the bill to bring in the 3-phase for me is really not bad. I'll be talking about that when the 3-phase video comes out. We have 3-phase right here across the road. We'll be bringing 3-phase across the road, putting a pole in here, burying the power, safety, burying the power. Gonna try and get these trees removed, try and talk my dad into removing these trees. Problem is there's a Rathbun Rural water line right there. So we're gonna have to see what they have to say about that. I'll be giving them a phone call tomorrow. Luckily, 3-phase power is not an issue for us at all. Pretty much we can get whatever power we want. We're actually gonna probably go in with some industrial 3-phase power. If you want me to get a whole bunch more detailed into that, I can't. I don't speak electrician. My dad pretty much kind of does, so we'll talk more with that. Maybe I'll try and get Sheraton Valley to kind of walk through what they can offer to their customers and talk about the 3-phase power. From what I understand about 3-phase, and if you can get it, this is why you want it. Smaller wire to run the motors, and it's a lot easier on your motors. So we are going to be bringing in 3-phase so we don't have issues with expansion in the future. The next thing you need to consider is farms nearby. Granted, there's a farm right here. My farm is directly across the road. Quite a bit of ground 5 miles to the north. We got quite a bit of ground 5 miles to the south. but we do farm in relatively a big radius, so this is pretty darn close to centrally located for us. But the good thing about it is that, again, it's right off the highway, so the location of this farm is really pretty darn good, and this is actually where we spend a lot of our time. I hope to live around here sometime so that the grain bins are close to us, and safety factors in that. But centrally located location is really kind of important. Reduces your haul time, fuel costs, especially right now. I wouldn't say this is perfectly centrally located, but I don't know if we could get perfectly centrally located. This is as good as we're gonna get.
Number 5 on the list is room for expansion, which we have here as well.
There's been some plans laid out, nothing set in stone about what bins would go where and how you would go like that. Lots of flexibility in this plan, and that's the good thing about it. The property line for this farm is actually right there, so we are limited on space going this way. Kind of an issue, not really an issue. We kind of talked about like one really big bin can go down here on the bottom. It slopes off a little bit, so you don't have, you get some natural elevation, like you can add more rings without having to go a whole lot taller. No expansion towards the road here.
Obviously the wet bin's gonna go here. We could keep going this way, but we probably won't. Obviously there's a building that's kind of in the way.
It's like an old reclaimed military building or something like that. I'm not real sure. Little shaky, so who knows how long that building would last. The more and more frequent derechos we keep getting. However, we got pretty much infinite expansion backwards, so we're in pretty good shape. For room for expansion, we can check that one off the list. Number 6 is new dryer and wet bins. So the bin that we are going to be putting up this year is a 30 or 30, oh boy, I think it's a 30. It's an 8 ring, so it's going to be just as tall as these guys here right next to us. So that's going to be the same. The height wise, there's a couple reasons we're doing that. We'll get into it later. It's 18,000 bushels worth of wet storage. You're going to have a cone in there of wet grain, something out. So maybe, I don't know, 15,000 bushels would be what you have for wet storage. Right now, that's plenty for us, especially if the dryer would be going. We don't have a dryer. Speaking of which, that would be the capacity of the dryer. There's not a dryer bought yet. There's a couple of them that I'm pretty interested in. Maybe something special. The dryer would go here, right here in the location. We'll be running an air system. Yeah, it'd be nice to be running the legs and stuff like that, but I believe it or not, I'm working with a budget.
Number 7 is a grain pit, and right in this nice wet spot, yeah, right there,
that is where a pit would go in the future. Grain pit, we would really like to have, or I would really like to have. In my opinion, if you can pull across there, dump the 1,000 bushels and that truck keeps moving, that's where that pit's going to pay for itself. If we can cut down on the 15 minutes that it unloads the truck, and you cut it down to 4 minutes to unload a truck, so that's 10 minutes. That's basically, that truck could be back at the fields that we're in. A pit would be very nice to add. It could go in there in the future. It does have a place located for it in the future. But right now, again, what we're looking for, or what I'm looking for to invest in, is the ability to dry wet grain, especially on years like this where the crop goes in later. The possibility of wet grain being out there is a big issue. And then also the ability to store a large percentage of the crop that we grow every year. That is what I'm having to focus on. Someday, that pit will go there someday. And number 8 on the checklist is traffic pattern, because believe it or not, these things actually take a little bit of space to move around. It's actually one of the things that the excavator needed to be fixed for. There needs to be some work done here. It's not bad. It's a good start to put some drainage in here so we can fill up in between the silver shed and the hay shed, make that rocked in. Easier to move in and out. When they bring the it's not free phase, I can tell you it's not free phase. When they bring the 3-phase in, they'll be bringing it across here, so that will get opened up. It'd be really nice to maybe put a little bit of tile in there, move that rock across there. Trust me, I'd rock more than the Rolling Stones if I could rock. And rock was free, you know, free rock and free rock concert rock free. Yeah, or I don't know where I was going with that one. More rock, more rock, more rock. yes, lots of rock.
On the other side of the 9400, you can see this driveway does come this way. There's actually another set of double-in gates. So this is in a natural loop right here. And then at some point in time, we'll just run up there real quick.
In the future, we will have to add another lane going through because these all have unload systems on the outside here. So those won't be reclaimed. We'll just unload straight out of those bins. That's just fine. Especially those new unloads, those things right there. Whew! They'll load a truck, I'll tell you that.
Look, some free rock. But at some point here, there's these double gates. Have to do a little bit of dirt work here, but a road would keep going up and around and go around the back side of it.
Where that road goes exactly yet, we're not 100% sure. Well, we do have the flexibility for it, and we do have a plan for how it would go in there and how the truck traffic would actually move around. We have the space to do it. We have a good flat-ish location with some slope, with some drain. I have the ability to do the drainage to make things so that there isn't water sitting everywhere. Because here's the thing about water and grain spills. Man, there ain't nothing better smelling than that. But anyways, that is choosing the site location. Again, I found that article on the GSI website really, really helpful in the things that I needed to consider for choosing a location. Now, granted, this location was somewhat chosen already, but it did check off a lot of the things and made you think about a lot of those things when it came to designing this grain system, because this here I'm going to be using the rest of my life, and I want to make sure it gets done right so that it's a good investment for me in the future.
Right, bub.
Anyways, check out GSI's website. There's a lot more blog posts and stuff like that. I'll link it down in the description. However, right now it's time to go hula. You just gonna hang out in here? You're not gonna hula hoop? You want to hula hoop?
No.
So we're gonna do a little stand count here. Check it out. See what we got going on. 24-inch hula hoop here. Just give it a little dramatic. Did that go where I, no. We won't, we're gonna extend this one because it's actually landed perfectly straight on a sprayer track. So we'll let that one not be a judgment spot. How's that sound? So we'll do her again. We'll reshoot that dramatic scene where I just go, population test! And it landed in another sprayer track.
Was I doing donuts here or something? What's going on?
And it's actually kind of the point row area. But one more time. Population check. Okay, we'll go with that.
Okay. Are we gonna say he's in or out? We'll say he's out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 right there.
13,872 times 8. 110,000 is what my stand is right there in that spot.
Now he's interested. 1, 2. Kind of, ooh, he's in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Consistent. 1, 2. You're ruining my beans. That fly's really funny. And you move it onto a sprayer track? You move it onto a sprayer track. Let's check her out anyways. We'll do this one as our last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10?
138.72 or something like that. 130,000. I'd say we got a stand. I will take that. Stand in the soybeans or cereal rye soybeans looks pretty good. Looks pretty darn good. However, it's really wet in the next field that I want to go do this at, so I'll pick up with you guys when I can get into that field. See you then. So today is June 2nd for me. Back out here in the field with the hula hoop. I feel like I needed to actually end one of these videos talking about that. I was just hula hooping that field over there. Those beans are so questionable. It's on a bubble. I think I'm gonna have somebody come down and actually look at them and let me know, because you could look at them like right here looks really good, but then if you kind of look like
Right here doesn't look so good.
And these are the beans that were planted on April 22nd. So what I'm doing is stand checks, just slinging a hula hoop and then counting the plants. Really honestly do not know what I'm gonna do here. Really pour right there. And if you count that, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. But if you were to move the hula hoop to something like this, right there, and you kind of cherry pick it, then I got beans that look like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Look at that guy. 8, 9, 10. That's 130,000. If I had 80 or 90, I would really probably say leave it. This field here, I think looks just fine. It's that one over there that I have questions about. And then the issue is at this point, now it's June 2nd, that was planted April 27th, is say I go in with 50,000 beans, I tear out 10, 12 doing it, so I put another 40 out there. That might get me to my 110, 120. Did I do any good, or would I be better just to leave the beans that are there, and I'll let them do their thing? Don't know. You guys will find out in a later video, because that's when I'll find out with it too. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. We're actually haying right now. We have hay on the ground. Gotta go take care of the rest of that here today. So thanks for hanging out with us in this video. And like always, we'll see you in the next one. Oh, well, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button on the way out. Adios.
Oh, you mean you didn't close the cab door before you?
Yeah, I did. It just blew out.
Yeah.
I closed the door that was there. How about that?